time for the Burning River Sportscast. South Beach was the scene on Sunday, and unfortunately, things went south for the Browns as the Finns went up. Cleveland continues to play Jekyll and Hyde with the season all but slipping away before the return of our long-awaited quarterback. Disheveled, distant, distracted, and downtrodden. Do the Browns have anything left in the tank? We break it all down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast.
It's over for them. It was a good season. Thanks for joining us. Kevin Stefanik should be in jail.
And I'm the caboose.
Yeah. I put a damn paper bag on my head. We probably should all just go do some grocery shopping or something at 1 p.m.
Jeff Saturday could figure this out.
Gosh, Stefanski's such an idiot!
Welcome to the Burning River Sportscast, presented by Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder, alongside the world's foremost Owen Wilson impersonator, Red Hot Ronnie Jams. Ronnie, tell our friends, and I, where we can find the goods.
Wow. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, and more.
And more.
So, Kenny, how was your weekend?
Gotta be honest, this weekend was a chill weekend when I wasn't
Those are the best weekends.
working. We slept a lot.
Nice.
I had to catch up on a lot of sleep.
Nice. You know, it's a myth. You can't really catch up on your sleep, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, we certainly tried. I just haven't been sleeping a lot lately. So
Fair. Me neither.
We spent a lot of time on the couch, watched some shows, watching The Wire right now.
It's solid. Wasn't my favorite, but it's solid. It kind of fizzles.
See, I felt the opposite. I felt like the first season was really slow and painful, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to get into this show. And then it's kind of picked up as it's gone on.
What season are you on?
I like it now. 4.
Out of how many?
I think there's 6.
I think there was 6 as well. Yeah, I would say the last season is that's where it fizzles for me. It's kind of one of those shows where it was pretty good while it was on, and it was almost like they didn't know what to do to end it.
Well, I almost feel like they don't know what to do every season because they keep like breaking the gang up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why it seems really unnecessary.
I don't know. I agree. It's a good show. I think that's a really solid show. It's just doesn't crack my top 5. So
yeah, it's good though. What about you?
Weekend's good. We're still just scrambling, getting ready for the baby any day now. So we actually have our last ultrasound tomorrow. So
that means the baby's coming any day.
Oh, any day. It's almost here. My stress level is like through the roof right now not because I'm stressed about having the baby. The baby's like the least of the stress. The stress comes from we have about 40 things that need to be done in the week leading up to the baby.
You're not stressed about having to keep another human being alive?
Yeah, I mean, I am only because you remind me every 20 minutes that if anything happens to our baby, it's
your fault.
My fault. Yeah, I don't like that. But besides that, no. The stress comes from just trying to get everything done. There's just not enough hours in a damn day, you know?
We'll get.
I got real work. I got fake work. And then I got a kid on the way. So
at least you have paternity leave coming up.
No. Mike, here's a fun story about paternity leave. My company just started offering it. But they announced it for the upcoming year.
But you don't get even like 2 weeks?
No. We had nothing before this, which isn't uncommon. Only like 10% of companies, I think it's even less than that, have paternity leave in America. Only 25% of companies in America have maternity leave.
Yeah, and they don't offer that much comparatively to the rest of the world.
Right, so let's open this up for just a second. Anything to delay the Browns talk. Yeah, so my company, though, they did start offering it. Good on them. So I'm not going to complain too much, but it takes effect January 1st. So if your child was not born, or if your child was born prior to January 1st, you don't get to take advantage of that. So guess how long that is that I miss out on? 5 weeks.
So can't you just like hold the baby in for a few weeks?
I don't think that's how it works, but I just won't report our baby until January 1st. But then I miss out on the tax break. So,
To potato.
yeah, whatever. But yeah, so no, but I do have some vacation saved up. So I'll be getting 2 weeks of my own vacation time that I'll be taking.
That's a vacation.
We at least get that.
You're going to watch a newborn sleep.
About 18 hours a day.
And then clean it and watch it eat.
Lots of poop.
Well,
But it's not going to eat poop. It's just going to... It's going to poop a lot. You know.
Oh,
I'm saying it, by the way, because we decided to be surprised by what we're having. We don't know.
Best of luck to you and your future endeavors.
Thank you. So before we get into the Week 10 recap, I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. Just bear with me for a second here.
Bearing.
Describe to our listeners what's happening.
We have the right to bear arms. Well, let's see. Ronnie is undressing.
I am not. I'm just taking my hat off.
He's removed his Miami Vice hat, and he's making a book cover out of. He's got a brown paper bag on his head.
I think I'm going to do the show like this.
Out of all the dumb shit you've ever done, this has to be the dumbest.
Let me adjust my bag and we could keep going here.
He's going full Eli Manning.
Oh yeah.
Mask on during the Manning cast.
Oh yeah. Let me put these on so I know what's happening.
He's got to put his headphones back on.
Luckily this bag is big.
That is one big brown paper bag.
You want one?
Where do you even get paper bags anymore?
Acme.
Acme?
You want one? I brought an extra one for you.
Is this this is what this has devolved into now? We're back to these Browns fans?
Yeah.
Great, now I gotta take off my hat.
Hopefully the microphones can still pick up. I cut mouth holes just so that the microphone can pick up what we're saying while we're doing the show.
This is wild. Whoa.
The technical difficulties.
My head doesn't fit in this bag.
It will. There you go. Looks good. Looks good on you. Pull the back down a little bit.
What's this do for you?
Nothing.
What's this?
The old microphone hit. The most devastating move in all of wrestling. All right.
We're just wearing brown paper bags.
All right. So this is what the season has devolved into. I am embarrassed to be a Browns fan.
We can't even show our faces on our own sportscast.
No, not at all. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. The Week 10 recap. Is this good?
What are we doing here? What just happened?
All right, so let's start like we always do with the Miami Dolphins. You don't have to keep yours on if you don't want to, if it's easier to take it off.
You know, I kind of like it. Let's go with it for a minute.
All right, well, so we'll start with Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
He was 25 of 32 for 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah.
That wasn't even the worst of it. Jeff Wilson Jr., 17 carries for 119 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches, and 24 yards.
I gotta be honest, Jeff Wilson wasn't even on my radar as like that. He's a weapon that could hurt us this week.
Well, he did. He hurt us all day.
I mean, I know Raheem Mostert is fast, but he's not a good running back. So,
well, he hurt us too. 8 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. And we'll just go ahead and go through the rest of their offense. Tyreek Hill.
Hold on.
Okay, I won't.
Just a quick note, just that the Dolphins don't have a huge running game.
No, it's pretty much non-existent to this day. They passed their average, their per game average in like the first quarter of the game.
The second quarter, yeah. Thank you for stealing my note.
I'm mad.
Brown paper bag, man.
This might be the best thing I ever thought of.
The worst part is He didn't even tell me he was going to do this. He just brought paper bags into
This
the
is what we
studio,
wear now.
And he's like, we're Browns fans. This is what we have going on.
Yeah, so this is how we do the show now. I'll be honest with you, it's really hard to see my notes, but I'm going to keep going with it. So yeah, they before this game, I mean, pretty much non-existent running game for the Miami Dolphins. Stop doing that. They were just awful throughout the season. They're known as a passing team. That's all they do. Not anymore, apparently. The Browns,
not anymore.
The Browns have literally the worst rush defense of all time, I think.
So I will say, I mean, absolute coaching clinic by Mike McDaniels to just look at the Browns interior and go, even though I don't really have any good running backs, I know they can't stop them.
Yeah.
Just attacking and exploiting the weaknesses.
He should probably have a conversation with Kevin Stefanik and tell him how to coach football games. Let's go ahead and go to the receivers, though, because that's who we thought was going to be beating us all day. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 4 catches, 66 yards. Those two guys, honestly, combined, didn't really beat us. When you say you have their best 2 players combined for 9 catches, just over 100 yards, and 1 touchdown, I mean, that's pretty good on those 2 guys. But,
yeah, except for Trent Sherfield also found the ball a bunch.
Yeah. Not to be outdone, Trent Sherfield had 4 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown, and Alec Ingold, whoever the hell that guy is, 4 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So
he's their secret weapon.
Way to go, Browns. The defense for the Dolphins, 3 sacks, 1 turnover forced. They got Nick Chubb. We'll talk more about it later. But that
was the first time he's put the ball on the ground all year long.
It was. But they didn't really have to show up. There was just, we suck.
That's why we're wearing the bags.
Yeah. Stefanik just doesn't want to use his best player. Our defense is trash. So, I mean, for the defense of the Miami Dolphins, it's really not that hard when you don't even have to game plan for Nick Chubb. So, I'm not even going to give him credit for anything on the day.
I'll hold my comments until we talk about the Browns.
Well, we're doing it now because
excellent.
Miami was they throttled us. There's not really much more you could say there. But on the Cleveland side, let's start with coaching. Mike Prefer. Trash.
Jerome Ford had a nice kickoff return to start the game.
He did.
But the Browns have no kickoff returns for a touchdown in their last 203 attempts, which is the longest streak in the NFL.
Probably partly to do with Prefer.
Prefer's still the GOAT.
He's the worst. Joe Woods, trash. He tricked us for a minute. He was like, watch us beat up on Cincinnati. Everybody's going to give me a reprieve. Let me not get fired for a few weeks, and here we are.
Hey, I said to fire him weeks ago.
The defense is back to looking like a peewee team out there. They literally look like the Little Giants before they were good in that championship game.
Just lack of effort, and I know we'll talk about players here in a minute, but it just was, I mean, you're watching guys make literal... She's looking at me in his brown paper bag mask. Guys making business decisions just not to be involved in plays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just, this wasn't just role players. This was Myles Garrett getting turned around on sweeps and off tackle plays, and just no effort at all. No heart, no drive, no desire to finish and win.
None. None.
That's so much a reflection of your leader, right? The shadow of a leader. God, I'm just so sick of watching it.
Well, and to that point, let's move on because Joe Woods was bad, but I would argue that Kevin Stefanik, as we like to call him here, was even worse. I'm just at a complete loss for words for this guy. Well, I'm not. I got a lot of words, actually. How many times does literally everybody in the world have to tell you to run the goddamn ball? Nick Chubb got 11 carries in this one. 11. He had 11 carries. This should be a crime. Kevin Stefanik should be in jail.
We literally said if there was one key to this game, it was to give the ball to Nick Chubb 20 times.
11. He had 11 carries.
He had 11 carries. He had 6.
This is Stefanek's quote after the game, by the way. Every coach, myself included, we all need to come up with a better game plan, and all of us need to be better. Don't try and deflect, Stefanek. It's not everybody. This is you. This is all on you. This is your team.
He's the head coach.
You had 2 weeks to prepare for this game,
and this is
what you give us.
This is the problem. The buck stops nowhere on this team. Nobody is accountable. Is your head falling off?
Yeah. Accountability? Never heard of her.
Never heard of her.
Like, seriously, though, how can anybody defend this man at this point? I just don't understand it. I keep hearing we got to give him a chance with Deshaun Watson. For what damn reason?
Well, and I keep hearing that...
You think Deshaun Watson can stop the run?
And I keep hearing that the offense isn't a problem.
We put up 17 points against a pretty bad defense.
Well, here's the thing. The offense isn't a problem, but you're 3-6.
Everything's a problem.
So everything's a problem.
Literally everything is a problem.
If your defense was bad, but you scored more points than the other team, you could still win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And seriously, though, he's the head coach. Having players ready to go is 100% on him.
And he had 2 weeks to do it.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
This is the biggest game of the year. You have 2 weeks to prepare. And I know, every week we say this is the biggest game of the season. But newsflash for you, Stefanek. Since you've dug yourself such a big hole, literally every game is the biggest game of the year from here on out.
Yeah, you got to run the table now.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, and look, no more. I'm done. Fire Stefanski, fire everyone. Hashtag no one is safe.
Hashtag brown paper bag.
Yeah. I'm just done with this is bullshit. And
the worst part is you hear this guy talk after the game. I heard I don't know, it was somebody just on one of the post-game shows yesterday. They made the most accurate analogy that I could possibly think of. I wish I had the creativity to think of it myself, but he said it sounds like a CEO giving a town hall where he's describing a bad financial quarter. Like every time he gets to the podium, it's, hey, we weren't really where we wanted to be, but
we're gonna get it figured out.
Like there's no. It's football. This isn't a Fortune 500.
And I've said it already this
bank.
season. We've been getting this thing figured out since Kevin Stefanski came to Cleveland. Give me a damn break.
The problem is he had it figured out when he got here because he started 14-6, but it's been trash since then.
Yeah, honeymoon phase is over, bitch.
And you're running out of people to blame.
Yeah,
I mean, it was we went through this whole thing last year where everything was Baker's fault or it was Odell Beckham's fault. You got no more scapegoats. You're the scapegoat. You're the goat. You and Prefer are the goats.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and head over to the offense. Keep going down the line here.
I think this brown paper bag is helping my anxiety.
Nice. You just breathe straight into your mask and you don't have to worry about things. So we'll start with well, actually, we won't start with Brissett. I'll mention him, but we'll be talking about him again later. But the O-line didn't do him any favors in this one. Jed Wills was atrocious again, and I have to apologize for saying to re-sign him last week. The only reason I said that, it wasn't because I thought he was good. It was because I was like, who can we get better? He's still young. Maybe he'll get better. And you can get him for pretty cheap and re-sign him.
You're officially out on Jed Wills?
No, absolutely not. It's not even a lack of skill with this guy. It's just a lack of effort. And it's just a common problem across the whole team, and I'm sick of seeing it. So, to me, every time I see somebody just give up this season, cut him. They're done.
Red Hot Ronnie Jams is red hot today.
I am pissed. Like we've seen, if we would have lost and we did what we always do, we almost always win. I would have been happier. But no, we came out 2 weeks off. Everybody's healthy, and we got shit on. Are you kidding me? I am so mad. Let's move on to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was Nick Chubb, but he was only Nick Chubb for 11 carries because that's all he was allowed to have. 11 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. He did have a fumble as the first one on the season, so not even mad about it. But what were they trying to do after that? What are they benching? Were they punishing the best player on the team?
Yep, you put him on the sideline.
Just another bonehead move by Stefanek. What an idiot that guy is.
The one time Stefanek is for accountability.
It's the best player on the team. Let's take him off the
Damn it, Nick Chubb. Hold on to the ball. You're out of the game. He still averaged 5.7 yards a carry.
Yeah, once again, though, not allowed to touch the ball.
Not allowed.
If I was Nick Chubb, I would have went in at halftime and demanded a trade.
We don't deserve
The
Nick
trade
Chubb.
deadline was last week, and I still would have demanded a trade. I would have said, I don't care. I'm not playing anymore. Just trade me. Cut me. I don't do something. I'm done with this.
Fair.
And then, our other running back, Kareem Hunt, 6 carries, 9 yards, 1 reception, 10 yards. And why is this dude still on our team?
So effective.
Like, I'm not even saying this is something bad on Kareem Hunt. Like, I think he's a good player. But we've shown I think it's been about a month in a row now, we have no idea how to use this guy.
No, it's a question of utilization at this point, and we don't have a game plan for getting him involved in a practical way.
We've got nothing. We got Stefanik. And if that's the case, if you can't figure out how to get this guy involved, a guy with this much talent, then why did we not trade him for a 4th rounder? Why did we not stop it over there?
I would take a 4th rounder for him.
Yeah, I would have taken anything for him, honestly. Because here's the deal: he's walking at the end of the season anyway, so get whatever you can.
And because somebody's gonna,
and we are going to the playoffs. It's not happening.
So the answer to the question is the Browns don't have anything left in the tank.
No, they got nothing. Even if we go undefeated when Deshaun Watson gets here, which is not going to happen.
No.
We probably still won't make the playoffs. We'll be too far behind.
Yeah. I mean,
because we're losing the next 2 games. Let's be honest here.
It's not time for picks yet.
Sorry, I'm angry. But yeah, so, Stefanik doesn't know how to use Kareem Hunt. Don't know why he's still on our team. We should have got whatever we could for him. Let's move on to the receivers. Amari Cooper, 3 receptions, 32 yards.
Kind of a no-show.
Yep. DPJ, he actually had a pretty good game. 5 receptions for 99 yards. So I was pleasantly surprised by him.
I mean, he had the one big catch early on and then some small catches. But, I mean, it's a solid day.
Harrison Bryant, 3 receptions, 15 yards and touchdown. And then David Bell, the Venus flytrap. He got 3 catches for 24 yards.
It was good to see him out on the field a little more.
Yeah.
He was out in a lot of sets.
Games like this where he was at least on the field a lot, that's what makes me excited for when Deshaun Watson comes back, is because I think he'll get him and some of the other, even like Harrison Bryant, some of these other players don't get a lot of catches. He'll get him more involved.
What if Deshaun Watson comes back and is just bad?
I'll be wearing this paper bag till the end of the year, I guess. The offensive line, 3 sacks given up, 112 yards rushing. We didn't run the ball very much, so that's, not their fault. And they were I just kind of put here that they were there. They didn't do anything notable. They were there.
They were there.
But yeah, they were, that's all I can say.
There was certainly a lack of effort because the holes that we've been accustomed to seeing all year long that are much bigger than the ones in this paper bag, they just weren't there, especially early on. Yeah, and I do have one note here while we're talking about the offensive line. Wyatt Teller wasn't able to go in this one. He gave it a shot before the game, and he had too much pain with his calf and wasn't able to go. And I saw a bunch of fans on Twitter giving him a bunch of shit about how he's just taking the game off and this, that, and the other. Come on, fans. Don't be a dick. Like, the dude's hurt. Wyatt Teller, of all people, is not the guy that's going to be sitting here saying, you know what? I'm just going to collect my paycheck this week in this 85-degree heat in Miami. Yeah, it's beautiful out. Let me just sit on the bench. Nothing about Wyatt Teller to me says soft.
No. So, like I said, don't be a dick.
Red Hot Ronnie Jams is playing all the hits.
Moving over to the defensive side, Myles Garrett, non-factor and absolutely no effort in this one.
MIA in MIA.
Yeah. Good one. Whatever, Myles Garrett. I don't even know what to say about you right now. You're the team captain, for God's sake. Like, that defense lives and breathes and goes as you go, and you just decided to take the day off.
And it just doesn't make any sense because he played so well 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, like probably one of the better games of his career, I would say.
High motor every play.
Yeah. And as far as effort, for sure, it was definitely one of the better games of his career.
And then you follow it up with a big wet turd.
A big wet turd.
It was like he wasn't even on the field.
Yep. So let's go on the opposite side. Jadeveon Clowney, also non-factor.
Non-factor all year?
Yeah, he hasn't really done much. I've been pretty disappointed with him this year. This bag's getting me right now. I don't care. Taven Bryan, also a non-factor. Why do we have that guy?
He got a penalty at one point.
Good job. Good job, buddy. Look, I'm not even going to run down the rest of the list. The only one that I'll point out, Taki had 10 tackles, so that was pretty good. But besides that, the defense as a whole was just pathetic. It was a pathetic, comical, uninspired football game that they played. Like, I don't even know what to say to them or about them.
It's just bad. But the thing is it's not like this is new. What was new was 2 weeks ago when they played well.
Yeah, that was new.
This has been going on all year. It went on for a good part of last year until they got things, figured out a little bit at the end of the year, but by then it was too late. This is not new. This is the Cleveland Browns defense. This is what they do. What's
our identity? Taking plays off.
Joe Woods.
Our identity is taking plays off. The defense played bad all across the board, but one player in particular, defensive tackle Roderick Perry, played so bad, graded 52.4 by PFF for the game, was cut today.
Happy trails.
They said they've had enough. I'll be honest with you, Joe Woods and Stefanik. I don't think Roderick Perry was the problem.
He'll be wearing one of these bags.
I mean, I don't think he was helping, but I don't think he was the problem. Our secondary, they played fine in coverage.
Yeah, I mean, we still gave up almost 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
but they did eliminate the big play. They didn't get burned on anything.
And they held the star-studded duo over there in check for most.
Well, that's when I knew we were in trouble, was when Miami went down the field on that first drive and Waddle nor Tyreek was even targeted.
Yeah.
And they scored.
Yep. They really showed us. But seriously, no heart throughout. Specifically, John Johnson, I want to call out here because a few weeks ago, he called out the entire team and said he wanted to see more effort and everybody had to get on the same page. Well, John Johnson decided he was going to take half the game off, and he's been garbage ever since he made that statement. In this one, there was 2 touchdown runs by the Miami Dolphins in particular. The first one, he literally jumped out of the way of the runner at the goal line. Like, he had him right there. All he had to do was push him out of bounds, and he jumped out of the way.
Business decisions, man.
And then on the second one, it looked like he was going about 30% speed, took a terrible angle, and then just let Mustard waltz right into the end zone. Like, he was literally untouched from, 25 yards or whatever it was. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, seriously, John, that's what you've got? That's what you've got after you called out the whole team. That's what you've got.
And what was disappointing was we got Zell back this week, and we thought that would be a nice boost in the arm. But I'll tell you, Zell didn't play great. Newsome didn't play great. MJ Emerson was victimized a couple of times. I mean, just all around, just bad.
It was just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. So let's just run down the special teams real quick. Cade York, 1-for-1 field goal, 2-for-2 extra points. Good job, Cade. Jerome Ford back returning kicks this week. He looked good. He had that opening kickoff, like you said, that went for...
And they didn't really kick to him the rest of the day.
Yeah. So, and then Miami didn't... I put it in our special teams, but Miami didn't have to punt the entire game. So, I don't have anything to say about our punt returns. As a matter of fact, their punter took a nap during the game.
He was snoozing. He
literally took a nap in the middle of the game. That's how bad the Browns were.
He didn't have to punt at all. I mean, I think they scored on every drive except for the one fourth down that we stopped them on.
Yeah, good job, Browns. Moral victory.
Good job, Browns. So bad.
Piss poor. Overall, total yards, Browns 297, Dolphins 491. Time of possession, Browns 26-46, Dolphins 33-14. So let's just have a discussion here.
No.
I mean, we kind of already went through all of it, but what the hell's going on here? How are there still defenders for Stefanik?
Look, there's still people that are of the mindset that he calls a good game, but to them,
it looked like it. It was a real good game.
But to them, and I can understand that sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you call it a bad game, but I don't think that the good games that he's called outweigh his absolute vacating of managing the special teams and the defense.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. And here's it's just simple football tenets overall that you have to keep in mind. I mean, what do we say every week? We have the team that you need to run the ball, control the clock, and play solid defense. Those were all along, not just week to week during the season, but even before the season. That's what everybody pointed to and said we have to rely on until Watson comes back. We have to survive.
That's what your roster's built for right now.
And even after Watson comes back, it's still built for that. Like, yeah, at that point, you're lucky because you have a quarterback that can also sling it for 400 yards, but your team is built to be able to just ground and pound and wear teams down. That rhymed. That was good.
11 carries.
11 carries. And so, I mentioned run the ball, control the clock, play solid defense. So far this season, Kevin Stefanski refuses to give the ball to the best player in the league. You've lost control of the clock because of that. You make the clock issues worse by consistently calling high-risk passing and trick plays on early downs, and the defense has been atrocious, and you haven't even considered firing Joe Woods. So.
Here's how I know college is overrated. I'm pretty sure Stefanski went to what, Penn? Is Penn Ivy League or not?
If Kevin Stefanski went there at this moment, I would say it's idiot league.
Kevin Stefanski went to Penn and still doesn't know to give the ball to Nick Chubb.
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with that guy? I said it a little bit ago, but I'm now firmly on the Fire Stefanski.
Oh, we're officially there?
Yeah, I'm on it.
We're there.
I was on it before these last couple weeks, but now I'm the goddamn conductor.
And I'm the caboose.
Yeah. Dude just doesn't understand how to run a football team. He's still trying to outsmart everybody. But all he does is outsmart himself. That's all he does.
And the locker room is still a mess.
Oh, yeah. It's just an absolute dumpster fire here in Cleveland.
I mean, what did Myles Garrett come out and say after the game? He said, I can run through a brick wall for you, but if I run through the wrong wall, what does that do for anyone?
Yeah.
Or if it's the wrong direction, that doesn't do anything for anyone.
Yeah, it's just a dumpster fire. And the worst part about all this is how every single week he talks about making adjustments. This dude doesn't even make adjustments for press conferences, let alone the games. Like, literally, we both picked this game wrong, obviously, because the Browns fooled us and we thought they were going to get back on track. They had it figured out. No. They had us thinking there was some light at the end of the tunnel. No. The Browns is the Browns, man. And Kevin Stefanski, if there's one thing you can count on him saying, it's that he's going to get it figured out and we're just going to be worse next week.
And I'm just so over the smugness of his press conferences. It's it's a condescending,
I know more about football than you do, so why are you even asking the question?
Yeah. What do you expect me to do? I'm doing a good job. You just can't see it.
Yeah. Done with you, Stefanski. Other Browns notes. We mentioned it a couple times already, but the Browns locker room may be in shambles. Perry and Winfrey sending cryptic tweets. He said, the hate will turn into thanks later. Save this message. Whatever that means. And then he deleted it, and now he's I hope we cut that guy soon.
Is he keeping receipts?
I hope we cut that guy soon.
You want to cut Perry in?
He's been in trouble literally the entire year. He's been a healthy scratch and in trouble the entire year. Good job, Andrew Berry. That's the guy we brought in a defensive tackle to shore up the defense. Good job.
Here's my thing. Is Stefanski now finding himself in the same position Baker Mayfield found himself, where there's a lot of goodwill that he's built, right? Because he did start well.
Yep.
Came in the pandemic season and all that, and managed the team well in a tough circumstance, and they made the playoffs.
Yep.
But just because you're the best coach that we've had since '99,
it doesn't excuse being a poor coach.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean there's not a better coach out there. Just like Baker was the best quarterback we've had since '99, but was Baker good enough to get us over the hump? I think Kevin Stefanski has officially found himself in that same realm, and it's just a little bit ironic, and it's a little bit just frustrating.
It's exactly what you said. It's all that goodwill has been just pissed away down the drain because he's just bonehead call after bonehead call. And here's the deal, like you said earlier, it was real convenient when Baker was here. You used him as the scapegoat. Well, now that he's gone and we've got all the problems out of the locker room and out off the team, and there's no one left. Who's to blame? The coach. And that's who's left.
And there's still just a vacuum of leadership. No, there's we talked about it earlier. There's no accountability. It's just
and
an endless circus.
And it's not just us talking like this. Browns Twitter has officially turned on Kevin Stefanski. If you could just look at tweets after the game about Kevin Stefanski, I mean, Browns fans are fed up too. It's kind of across the board. They just seem so.
This roster was supposed to be good.
Yeah, they're just Browns fans collectively seem so ready to call it a season. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you haven't gathered already, I'm with them. I put a damn paper bag on my head.
This isn't a team devoid of talent. Like, they're not losing games because they're bad. You have talent and athletes.
Yep.
They're not being coached.
No, they are not. And we started this podcast this year to have to talk about this sorry excuse for a football team. So I apologize that you have one more Browns podcast to tell you how bad the Browns are. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of right there with Kevin. They've had it up to the top of this paper bag with Kevin Stefanski.
But how many Browns podcasts do their entire cast in a paper bag?
We do.
This is the only one.
It's the only one.
Burning River
Sportscast. So let's go ahead and take us to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Let's go to the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week.
I'm a dog, dog mentality. Come on now. I'm coming in to kill right away.
I think it's good. So
I don't even think we should have a Dog of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to, but it's whatever.
But we have to.
Yeah, it's a segment, so we gotta make a Dog of the Week.
Great.
So the Dog of the Week this week is we're going with Jacoby Brissett. Like you said, nobody really stuck out and absolutely deserved this thing. It was more of a by default. He had the least errors and the most effort in this game that we saw. Nick Chubb was up there, but he didn't get a chance to shine. So we went with Jacoby Brissett.
And he fumbled.
Yeah. Jacoby was 22 of 35, 212 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, 7 rushes for 40 yards. And I'll say this about Jacoby, and I maintain this throughout the year, even with some of the picks late in games earlier in the year. Jacoby's hardly ever to blame for losses. And it was the same this time. I mean, he didn't make mistakes. He didn't really do anything wrong. He was pretty consistent. He put up his normal numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he plays within himself every week.
The Browns just suck, man.
They're just bad. They just always win.
No, this time we didn't almost win. We lost bad. We got humped. So let's go ahead and get into the division roundup. All right, so this week we had Cincinnati and Baltimore on bye. But last week when we recorded, Baltimore hadn't played yet. They were playing the night we recorded, Monday Night Football. They did beat the Saints, so we both picked that one right.
Ain't the Saints.
And then this week, obviously, we lost to Miami because we're trash.
0-1.
The Steelers beat the Saints.
0-2.
And yeah. So the Steelers are trash, but have the same record as the Browns. So again, we mentioned it earlier in the season. If you subscribe to the transitive property, the Browns are officially trash. So we're in the trash bin. But either way, we both picked that game wrong. So like you said, 0-2 this week. Add the win for Baltimore and overall 1-2.
Speaking of transitive property,
the
Browns are officially only better than 2 teams in the NFL this year.
It's a good thing we don't have any first-round draft picks.
The Las Vegas Raiders at 2-7 and the Houston Texans at 1-7. Every other team in the NFL, every other team has as many wins as you or more. So that's including all the bad ones.
It feels bad.
I mean, the Steelers with Kenny Pickett's throwing all the Pickets.
Kenny Pickett's throwing the Pickets.
Won the same amount of games as you. The Panthers, who literally fired their entire team, had the same amount of wins as you.
Yeah.
The Falcons, who are starting Marcus Mariota, have more wins than you.
Oh, yeah. Including one against you.
21 teams have more wins than you.
Feels bad. Let's stop talking about that and let's take a trip around the NFL where things may be brighter. All right, so we touched on something last week that I want to revisit this week.
Since we're not talking Browns, I'm taking the bag off my head for this segment.
All right, I'll do it too. I'll put it back on my head for the preview for next week
when we talk about the Browns again.
Let me put my hat back on real quick.
Just flanging around. Sorry, it's a wardrobe change mid-show.
It's a lot easier to go from bag on your head to hat than hat to bag on your head.
I feel like we sound better, too.
We do sound a little bit better. Can talk directly into the mic.
Maybe the bag's got to go.
All right. Well, it was fun while it lasted. No, I'm going to put it back on when we do the preview. But anyways, around the NFL here, we talked about Jeff Saturday becoming the interim head coach for the Colts last week. And I wanted to come back to this because it's actually blown up, and it happened the day that we recorded last week.
And because it was kind of funny because we kind of wrote it off as like, oh, hey, like fan favorite, like whatever.
Yeah, we
like,
were excited.
Ex-player getting a coaching job. Yeah, neat.
We both said we grew up with Jeff Saturday. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nope. No. No. The entire league is pissed.
It blew the hell up.
This became like the biggest story of the week, which I'm still just mind boggled that this is the story that blew up.
This was,
mind you, I'll just throw this in here real quick right now. Dan Snyder, Roger Goodell, and the entire NFL and the Commanders are being sued by the Washington, D.C. Attorney General because they lied to the public. And this is the story. Jeff Saturday becoming the coach of the Colts is the story that blew up. I wonder if there's a little bit of a look over here going on.
I don't know. I mean, I can't explain the vitriol that has been just
people are pissed,
word vomited all over this guy.
Yeah, let me just the problem that everybody seems to have with it. Well, there's a few things, but the main problem that everybody has with it is that there's two former head coaches on the Colts staff right now, in Gus Bradley and John Fox. Neither of them got promoted, and then Jeff Saturday, before this, had never coached above the high school level. In his last season coaching high school, he went 3-7. So, I mean, those are some of the big issues with it. They're talking about the sanctity of the coaching fraternity and all this stuff.
Well, yeah, like why existing coaches who have worked their asses off aren't getting a shot before a guy like Jeff Saturday. The first thing that I would say is, do you own the football team? Because if you're Jim Irsay, you're writing the checks. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand is people act like he cares what they say. But and that includes a former Brown, not just a former Brown, like the all-time Cleveland Brown.
The Brown.
Joe Thomas was pissed this week.
Do I got to put the bag back on my...
No. But he was pissed this week. He said that this hire was Irsay hiring one of his drinking buddies. And he said it was the most egregious thing he can ever remember happening in the NFL. And, quote, and I went 1-31 my last 2 years in the NFL.
Joe, I love you, but you're just wrong.
Yeah, like, I just don't understand. And Jeff Saturday, to his credit, came out and said, I've never had a beer with Jim Irsay in I don't even know what he drinks. And I don't really drink, so I'm not going and drinking with Jim Irsay. I don't know what he's talking about. On top of that, Bill Cowher came out and talked about how, like you were saying, there's so many other coaches that deserve this, that work their asses off, and that this was absolutely terrible. I forget the quote from him. But he laid into it and said that it was an awful day for coaching.
Everybody did. And I just don't understand the mindset that is, it's always been done this way. Like, just because you've done something for a long time doesn't mean you're doing it right.
That it just sounds to me like the Kevin Stefanik way of thinking. Like, I'm smarter than everybody.
Well, and I just have a hard time.
Not from the Colts, from like, no, this is the tried and true method, and we have to be smart, and we have to hire the coach. No, you need to go out and do things your way. Clearly things weren't working, right?
Well, yeah.
They started the year poorly.
That's not where they wanted to be. Certainly, they were 3-5-1.
And then you have your head coach saying Matty Ice just is done for the year.
I can't come to grips with the idea that this particular job, coaching an NFL football, coaching a sport, is the hardest, most difficult, that very few men are worthy of coaching football.
It takes a rocket scientist, bro.
It doesn't, though.
It does. I actually agree with you. It doesn't, because I know I could call plays better than Stefanik.
We can't act like there's some virtue or sanctity to the head coach position in the NFL when you hire guys like Hugh Jackson. If Hugh Jackson's good enough, there's a lot of people that are good enough.
Hey, he filed lawsuit. He was forced to tank.
He was forced to go 1-31.
Yeah, he was forced to tank, even though that case was thrown out and there was no merit.
I mean, it's an antiquated way of thinking to go, you're not qualified for this job, but I need you to have experience before you can get hired. Like
it's just as simple as, like I said, it was what they were doing, what they have been doing hasn't worked. So why not do something completely different for once? And it's the best part about it is it's like a rental. It's not even like you've named him the permanent head coach.
Right, he didn't get a 6-year deal for $80 million.
You're like, what the hell? We got a few games left this year. Let's see what this guy can do.
I mean, talk about translatable skills here, right? The dude played, 13 seasons in the NFL, won a Super Bowl, played with one of the all-time great quarterbacks ever, made 5 Pro Bowls or 6 Pro Bowls, and then was an analyst for years on ESPN.
Right, and I think the most hurtful one out of everybody that came out and said anything was actually Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning came out, and he didn't bash him real hard like everybody else did. He said he was happy for him getting the opportunity, but he kind of truncated it with, well, but he shouldn't have got the opportunity. So, and said that it was a shame that so many other coaches were passed up. Like that hurts. Like that's the dude. You know how good of a leader he is, and how good of a person he is, and you're going to sit here and say, well, like it just sounds to me like, and Peyton's not this guy usually, but it sounds like everybody came together and collectively is towing the NFL line, and like the owner's line, and like the coach's line.
And maybe that's all just a kiss the ring technique for any of them that maybe want to coach again someday. But man, it's such an antiquated way of thinking. Like, I don't look at someone to hire now and go, do you have necessarily the perfect experience? I go, no. Do you have a translatable skill set?
And you actually are in charge of hiring people.
Are you a good person? Are you driven? Are you a leader? Like, what are the intangibles here? Because I can teach Jeff Saturday the administrative portion of running a football team.
Oh, I totally agree. Our company, the company that I work for, is a very good company, very forward thinking, and they don't. When they hired me, I had no outside sales experience whatsoever. But they said, you're young, you're driven, and you're showing us a lot just in the interview process, so we want to give you a shot. And I mean, I think it's gone pretty well. I guess I don't know what they think, but that's how they hire everybody in our company, and our company continues to outperform sales goals. So
I just don't know how you're supposed to get experience if you can't get hired for the job.
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows.
And I'm just baffled by the reaction to this.
Here's the best news, though. Jeff Saturday had the best response for everybody.
He won?
He went out and won on Sunday.
This job is so damn hard. No mortal man can do it. You have to be an NFL head coach or a coaching, some coach. I don't know. You have to. Can we just pretend for a second like there isn't nepotism all over the NFL? Right. Have you ever heard of a Shanahan or a Belichick? Like
anybody on their coaching trees?
Like, just because you're related to a guy that is a good head coach, like that makes you worthy. No one's pissed about little Belichick being on the sidelines of a Patriots game.
Nope. Nobody cares. It's because he paid his dues.
Like if
he was the ball boy.
If you don't start as the ball boy or in the AV room, then like you're not cut out to be the coach.
It's just crazy talk, man.
13 years in the NFL. That's not good experience. Ball boy, hired.
Jeff Saturday now has, since he became the head coach of the Colts, he now has more wins than half the league. So there's that. And I mentioned Peyton Manning through this whole thing. The ironic thing for him is, Vegas releases odds on everything. Peyton Manning is the betting odds favorite to land the job, even though he hasn't even expressed any interest. So be careful what you say, Peyton Manning, because if you do somehow end up being the coach later.
Well, Peyton does have experience, though, because he coaches his kids' flag football team.
Fair.
I've heard him on Manning Cast.
Fair. And they went undefeated.
Yeah.
Also in the running, I'm just going to run through these real quick. I have notes in all of them, but I'm just going to run through the names. There's some interesting names here. Jim Harbaugh, our buddy up north. I use the term buddy very loosely. D'Amico Ryans, Jonathan Gannon, Luke Fickell. That is one of our buddies, ex-Ohio State guy. Sean Payton, Eric, was that Bieniemy? Bieniemy, whatever. Steve Wilkes, Rich Bisaccia.
Bisaccia's got kind of a raw deal because that's who took over for John Gruden and did a pretty good job last year, and the Raiders made the playoffs.
Well, and then these last two are pretty interesting too. Kellen Moore and Byron Leftwich are both on there. So,
see, like Kellen Moore, you were a bad NFL quarterback, but because the Cowboys gave you a job, now you have experience. Like, how did he get hired for that job?
How did the nobles become nobles in the first place? They took it at the tip of a sword.
I mean, it just blows me away when you think about. I mean, Jesus Christ, we live in a country that elected a peanut farmer and a reality TV star to run the whole damn country, and like we act like that was totally fine.
Oh man. Yeah. So,
but running a football team, that's complicated.
Yeah. So enough about the Colts. We beat that drum enough. But I was so mind boggled about how this thing blew up that I had to come back to it. In other news, Kadero Hodges, your old buddy, scored a touchdown this week.
Daryl Hodge.
So that was good. Speaking of, this whole conversation, we talked about owners. Raiders owner comes out and says Josh McDaniels is doing a, quote, fantastic job. This comes after they just lost to the Colts that we just talked about, 25-20.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be just the most inept group of anything to lose to Jeff Saturday, who's never coached in the NFL before.
Right.
I mean, you should just go home.
Right. I will say this. The owners of the Raiders must be good friends with the Haslams if they're saying McDaniels is doing a fantastic job, because that's kind of what we get over here in Cleveland, that Stefanek's doing a fantastic job.
Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas is the only spot in the city where the house loses.
Good joke. After the game, Derek Carr cried.
Where his mascara ran?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was surprised that his mascara didn't run. We just talked about this last week, and here we go.
Eyeliner.
He apparently just can't take it anymore. He broke down mid press conference. Was like, it's hard, man.
Just frustrated.
Yeah, so that happened. But on more exciting news, the Bills and Vikings game was absolutely nuts this week. Insane catches on both sides that kind of stole the show. Diggs for the Bills and Justin Jefferson for the Vikings.
How good is Justin Jefferson?
Dude, that catch had to be the best catch since OBJ. And there's people arguing whether it was better than OBJ. I don't know. It's right up there. I'd say they're kind of like 1A, 1B. They're right on the same level. But I will say this about Justin Jefferson's catch. It was 4th and 18 with the game on the line, and the defender literally had it in his hands with two hands, and Justin Jefferson, without a firm grip on it, stole it away somehow by pinning the ball between his hand and his arm, fully extended, and ripping it away from the defender while going down and being tackled.
He two-hand-danned it.
He one-hand-danned it.
That game was crazy, but ultimately, who's wearing the chains on the planes?
Yeah, Minnesota. And Minnesota is officially the second best team, according to record, in the NFL at 8-1.
I am blown away by this.
It's pretty crazy, man.
I mean, it's not, and I guess maybe I shouldn't be. I mean, Dalvin Cook is good.
Solid running
Justin
back.
Jefferson is having one of the best years of a receiver in a long time.
I feel like besides Justin Jefferson, I would put him in the elite category for receivers. But like the rest of their team, they have a lot of guys that are in like not that elite category, but the step just below that makes up for just a solid team all the way around.
And their defense is playing all right. And
Kirk Cousins always flies under the radar. I mean, people don't ever look at him as like one of the better quarterbacks, but he always puts up good numbers.
Because he's a meme, but he still statistically is like a top 10 or 12 quarterback every year.
You like that? Yeah, I like it. But anyways, let's move on to some not so great news. The Cardinals.
Great news for who?
Eno Benjamin specifically.
He didn't get any good news today?
No, the Cardinals cut him today.
Yeah.
He, in case anyone wasn't following that. He was their starter for like a few weeks when
James Conner got hurt.
Yeah, when James Conner got hurt, and he played well. Like, he played well while James Conner was out.
I mean,
I had him on my fantasy
he
team.
racked up a ton of fantasy points.
Yeah, so he went from starter to cut real fast. I think what happened was he got no touches in this game, and he cried. And instead of letting him cry in a press conference, they just cut him.
He got less touches than Anthony Schwartz did this week.
Oh, that feels bad. But on the opposite side of the spectrum for the Cardinals, Colt McCoy got a win this week.
Colt McCoy, our Texas boy.
He, instead of going from starter to cut, he went from backup to starter and instantly shined.
Colt McCoy is one of those good guys. You know, he's like a feel-good story in the NFL.
One of my favorite sound bites from NFL history is when the Steelers were just trouncing the Browns the one year. I don't know. Was it the year he got hurt?
Yeah, that was the hit that was.
Yeah,
the game
he's over on the sideline, and I can't find the soundbite for the life of me. Hopefully you can, but he's just over there talking to the coaches, and he was mic'd up that game, and he's like, "They just keep hitting me after the play, and
on every play,
and why?
Why?"
He was just so upset. It was just so funny. But other bad news for the Cardinals, though: tight end Zach Ertz, knee injury. He's got a CL.
He's now Zach Ertz.
He is now Zach Ertz, and he's done for the year. Lost to a CL. But we mentioned Colt McCoy here. Speaking of backups starting for their teams.
Browns backups.
Speaking of Browns backups starting for their teams, Baker Mayfield's going to get the start this week after Carolina starting quarterback PJ. That's the weirdest thing to say. Carolina starting quarterback PJ Walker. PJ Walker got hurt in this week's game, and if I was Baker, I would honestly just say, "Nah, I'm good."
I'm good.
Literally every quarterback that plays for them gets hurt.
Baker's back and he's off the leash. Look out!
Oh boy!
Look out!
Oh boy! Moving on, the Cowboys are 2-2 with Dak Prescott and 4-1 with Cooper Rush.
I don't know what they're going to do down there, man. I mean, they got too much invested in Dak, but
their fans were just devastated. They were on a high because the Cowboys have actually been playing pretty good this year, and then the way that they lost this game to the Packers,
it was bad. The worst thing is like that game. I just caught like the last quarter and a half, and you could just feel the momentum shift in that game.
Have you seen the meme of the girl like rubbing her boyfriend's back in the stands?
Yeah,
and it's just instantly a meme. Like
I've seen every meme.
Wow, that's true. You're
the meme lord.
Yeah. Russell Wilson lost again. So that's good. Broncos had
what an investment.
The Broncos had 9 punts for 411 yards in this one. That's a big number. So they paid $250 million for 411 yards in punts. Just riveting. That team is riveting down there.
They should have just gave that to the punter.
And then one really bright note here. We got to hurry with this one before our camera cuts off. One really bright note. All of Munich sang Country Roads during their game. So
that was cool.
The play started again, and they just kept singing.
Germany seems to put on a better show and show up better than the fans in London.
Yeah, better showing up better. Something's going on over there.
Up
Rumor has it, though, that they were all just elated they didn't have to watch the Cleveland Browns.
But I like that they've never really done it before, so they just kept singing even when the play started.
Wait, the game's going on? It tailed into a cheer for the play that happened because it was a big play.
Let's sing us out.
Yeah.
Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. John Denver.
City by the Bay. That was good harmony we had there.
It wasn't that great. We should have rehearsed that beforehand.
Yeah, that's the problem with doing things on the fly like this. So that'll do it for our Week 7 cover. Week 7, wow, I'm way behind there. That'll do it for the Week 10 coverage.
Put the paper bag back on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a revenue break, and we'll go ahead and get into Week 11. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, the newest craft distillery in Northeast Ohio. Located in Akron and family owned. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits, carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small batch silver rum made from the highest-grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made from corn and rye. Towpath Distillery. Visit towpath-distillery.com to find an agency near you where the spirits are available, and make sure to ask your local bartender and restaurateur. Towpath Distillery. Handcrafted, small batch, local, and family owned.
Get some.
Yeah.
When are they going to add that to their tagline?
Never, because that's not a good tagline. I'm pretty sure that's already a tagline for something, but who's, whatever.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
We got to get into the Week 9 preview, which means I need to put a bag back on my head. So Week 9 preview.
Oh, no.
All right, we're ready to go. I got a bag on my head and I'm ready to go.
I'm ready.
All right, so this week we've got the Buffalo Bills. Do we want to start with position matchups? You got any opposition research you want to do?
No. I hate the Browns suck.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just go ahead and do this. The only matchup, I guess I got two of them. The first matchup I put on here is just the Browns defense versus the Buffalo Bills offense. Look, we're going against one of the most potent offenses in the entire league this week. If we don't play hard and hold them under 24 points, which is a huge, huge order, chances are we're probably going to lose this one.
Chances are we're probably going to lose this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. I didn't break it down and go any matchup that was like position specific because, I mean, our whole defense has been trash. So we need the entire unit to step up.
Here's what I'll tell you about our defense. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We've given up 30 or more points 5 times this season.
That's not good.
And we've given up 150 rush yards or more 4 times this season.
That's not good. Here's another fun fact for you. The duo of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have been outrushed in 5 of the last 6 games.
The best running back stable in the NFL.
Yep.
Outrushed.
Good job, Stefanik, you idiot. Speaking of Stefanik, Kevin Stefanik versus Joe Woods is my next matchup to watch. Which side of the ball can be worse, the offense or the defense? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. My prediction for this game, it's going to be an absolute shit show. Like, it's going to be bad.
Is that bad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the Bills have Josh Allen. He's approaching 3,000 yards, one of the front runners for MVP. We can try to contain him, but we probably can't.
He does have a ulnar CL.
Yeah, that slowed him down this week. He still threw for like 300 yards or whatever it was. In the Minnesota Vikings, their defense, much better than ours.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, the defense for the Bills, here's the kicker, too. I just talked about their offense and how we have to somehow find a way to slow them down. Well, the defense for the Bills is also solid. One of the toughest ones we've played the entire year. And as a matter of fact, they're ranked 3rd overall in the league for points allowed. By comparison, in case anyone was wondering, Miami, who just played us and held us to 17 points this past week, has given up 241 points on the season. That's 24.1 points per game. The Buffalo Bills, you wondering how much they've given up?
What have they given up?
They've given up 151 points on the season, which is only 16.8 points per game.
So they're a little bit better than Miami.
They're a lot better than Miami. So, yeah, I mean, you can see why I have no confidence going into this one. And I'll be honest with you, even if we weren't playing the Bills, I wouldn't have any confidence with the performance that the Browns put on last week. So,
well, and I think the other thing is that this is probably a game that was circled early on everyone's calendars as a loss.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, midway through the season with us looking like trash, it's just even more so. Like, we probably should all just go do some grocery shopping or something at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Finish your leaves, put your Christmas lights up.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time.
So the Bills, though, overall, they've got a 6-3 record, solid squad with an elite quarterback, 1 game back in the toughest division in football, 1 game back to the team that just destroyed us. Luckily, they've got the Browns this week, so they'll probably climb right back into that division race. And go ahead.
The only thing I was going to say was the Bills don't really have a strong running game. They did trade for Nyheim Hines at the deadline to try.
I bet they have a strong running game this week
to try and bolster that, but I guess that's a non-factor because the Browns' rush defense is so bad that
Miami has no rush offense, and look what happened there.
Anyone can be good.
I could actually probably name off like 4 teams this season that had no rush offense coming into the game and then rushed for 150 plus.
Yeah, like how many yards did Austin Eckler have yesterday? Do you know?
Probably none.
26.
Yeah,
How
against
many
the Browns,
like 175?
career day. But yeah, like I said, look, the only chance we have is the Browns collectively need to have the game of the year for the squad. And we're talking, they actually played really well against Cincinnati. They need to play better than that if they're going to beat the Bills.
They won't.
They've got no chance playing like we did last week. And the sad part about this is it's not the first time they've played like that this year. So I'm pretty confident that odds are we have a better chance of them playing like they did last week versus the one time they played well against Cincinnati. So
one time we played well.
Yeah, and
we got to get that on a shirt.
literally at least we beat Cincinnati.
One time we played well, and then the score of the Cincinnati game.
So that'll take us to the injury report for this one. All right, so we got Wyatt Teller still dealing with that calf injury. He may play. I think he'll probably play. He was close to playing this week, but didn't quite get there. We got Njoku still dealing with a high ankle sprain. He may be back as well. He's been trying to get back. He claims he was close this week, but they never really put him. He didn't participate in practice at all, so I don't really know where he's at. Go ahead.
No, sorry, finish out.
And then JOK is the last one that I had. He was out last week, still dealing with a knee injury. Don't know how much longer he'll be out.
The only thing that I was going to say is I'm tired of talking about injuries and we didn't have this guy or that guy. Like it's week
football.
It's
bro.
week 10 in the NFL. Everybody's injured. Everybody's
Next
hurt.
Man up.
Everybody's got guys that are out. Figure it out.
Yeah. It seems like it's a recurrent thing with the Browns. Year after year, we talk about, well, we could have been good, but we had so many injuries.
This guy wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your player to watch in this one, if you have one?
Yeah, I'm going to go. Ironically, I'm going to go with Devin Singletary.
Nice.
And I would actually expand that to go because our rush defense is so bad with the entire stable of running
Atrocious.
backs.
Yeah.
The entire stable of running backs there. So that would be Singletary, James Cook, Nyheim Hines, and our old friend Duke Johnson is actually on that roster. So
Good pass catcher out of the backfield.
one or more of those guys, could have a big day against our defense. And if they do, I think it looks a lot like this Miami game where Josh Allen nursing an elbow injury probably doesn't have to beat you. They can just run the ball all over you.
It just feels bad when they have such a subpar rushing attack, and we say Josh Allen's probably not even going to have to beat you.
Yeah, Josh Allen doesn't have to. He's just going to be able to just put a brace on
They're
that
like the
arm
opposite of the Browns. They have a quarterback that can go beat you. He just doesn't have to.
Josh Allen's going to do like the Dolphins punter and take a nap during this game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for me to have any chance, Nick Chubb, I think, on top of the defense playing well for us, Nick Chubb is going to have the game of his life. But to do that, Stefanek's going to have to give him the ball, so I fully expect us to lose bad.
So here's my thing.
Yep.
If there's one thing that needs to happen this week,
Yep.
it's to give Nick Chubb the ball 20 times.
Won't happen. Absolutely won't happen.
Because in games where Nick Chubb has the ball 20 times, we don't lose.
Yeah.
Stefanski still can't
Here we
figure
are
this
again.
out.
Here we are again. What's our record on the year, Kenny?
3-6.
And when Nick Chubb gets 20 or more carries, we are
Undefeated.
When he gets under 20 carries,
We lose a lot.
we're defeated. We've lost all of them. So literally, like, it's not hard. Give him 20. Give him 20 carries.
Jeff Saturday could figure this out.
Gosh, Stefanski's such an idiot.
Hire Stefanik.
Fire Stefanik. All right, let's go ahead and get into the King of the North.
King of the North.
At least least I can still get excited about this because I'm whooping your ass in this segment.
You're licking my ass.
Oh, I'm whooping it.
I'm taking my hat off because we're not talking about the Browns for 1 second.
Me too. We're done with the Browns, so this is hat off, hat on.
I wore my hat inside of the hat.
That's impressive.
That last time.
That's impressive. You don't have to mess with stuff after that. But anyways, King of the North here. When we add in Baltimore's Monday night win that we both picked right from last week, I went 1-2, and Kenny went 1-2. We made all the same picks last week. So overall, the spread kind of stays the same. I'm at 19-12, and Kenny's at 16-15.
Woo!
So let's start with the rest of the AFC North. Predictions for this week. We've got Carolina at Baltimore. Who you got?
I'm tempted to pick Carolina just because Baker Mayfield's back. But
He's off the leash.
He's off the leash. But let's be real here. Baltimore's going to win this game. They're coming off a bye. They'll be well rested and prepared, like the Browns should have been this week, for a team that's not very good. That's all. They're just not very good. And their defense is coming together. Their defense was a weak spot early in the season.
Yeah, they are starting to come together. They're starting to look pretty dangerous.
With their free agent acquisition, that defense is...
Yeah, when you go out and get the top tackler in the entire league.
is it plugged a big hole for them. Yeah. So I go Baltimore this week.
Yeah, I got Baltimore too. I'm not even entertaining a conversation the other way. Yeah. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I'll go first in this one. Pittsburgh's trash.
Yeah, they're trash. They're big trash.
And I know they already beat.
You're big trash.
They're big trash. So are we. So I can't really say much. But I know that Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati earlier in the season. But I think Cincinnati easily gets revenge for that ugly loss. And I think they win.
Week 1, right?
Yeah.
Weird things happen in week 1.
Yeah, I think they win by probably 2 touchdowns in this one. I got Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I hope you pick Pittsburgh because
I'm not picking Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I'll pick Cincinnati.
Just so we don't have to
because Pittsburgh's
play that charade.
Pittsburgh's big trash. So
big trash.
Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I had to take a drink of my coffee there. Browns at Bills, the one we've been waiting for. No discussion needed. Bills win big.
You got the Bills.
Bills win big.
Now that we're talking about the Browns, we can put the bag back on.
Who do you have?
It looks like Halloween in here.
Mine's got a slight smile. I don't understand.
Here's the thing. The Browns are atrocious.
Oh, they're so bad.
Falling apart at the seams. Josh Allen's banged up. Has the ulnar CL. CLs are bad always. Threw 2 red zone interceptions this week. His decision making has to improve. They are
comical to get around to the Browns are going to lose.
They are 0-2 in their last 2 games. So there's some things. There's some cracks in the armor.
There may be, but let's get to your pick.
And here's what I think. I think that the Browns almost always win. The Browns will win this game because they're not supposed to.
Just when I think
this is what they're doing. This is what the Browns do.
I even had you penciled in for picking the Bills.
Just when you think they can't get any dumber,
you go and do something like this.
Go and do something like that.
And totally redeem yourself.
I'll be able to take my paper bag off.
Look, I don't have any good reason why other than the fact that the Browns is the Browns, and this is what the Browns do. They lose games they're supposed to win, and then they'll just randomly show up and just roadhouse somebody they're not supposed to.
Roadhouse.
So I go Browns over the Bills this week.
I'm at a loss for words right now. First of all, this is the first time all season, I want to point that out, that you picked them to win, the Browns to win, and I picked them to lose.
That's true.
We've either been the same or I've picked the Browns to win while you picked them to lose.
They're going to shock the world. And here's the thing. That doesn't mean the season, when they beat the Bills this week.
No, that's going to give us just enough hope for everybody to think the season has been saved.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're going to get trounced by the Buccaneers.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to beat the Bills, and everybody's going to go, just like after the Cincinnati game, they're going to go, oh my, this Browns, maybe there is something still here, and they're getting Deshaun back in another week after this, after the Buccaneers game. Maybe they could still do something. They're going to rattle a cage. Nope. They'll probably lose the rest of their games.
I'm pretty sure the reason that you've had anxiety problems is because you're a Browns fan.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure that's why all of Cleveland. If you look it up, we should pull that stat. What do the anxiety stats look like for the state of, or particularly for the region of Northeast Ohio?
The most medicated area of the country.
Yeah. I mean, I know we were the opioid capital of the nation for a while, so I wonder if we were just medicating due to Browns giving us heart attacks.
I keep telling everyone that I don't have anxiety. Like, I'm not.
You're just a Browns fan.
I'm not nervous about work. I don't have feelings of dread or doom, but I do apparently have anxiety because I've been having panic attacks. Maybe it's just all due to the Browns. So
the Browns are the Browns, man.
Thank you, Browns.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and take one more quick revenue break, and then we'll get back here, get into For the Land, and wrap up the show. Towpath Gin, a true craft American gin made in its own style. A blend of 9 botanicals brings a moderate amount of juniper with a citrus backbone. Layers of 7 other botanicals shine through for this incredibly well-balanced and high-quality small batch. Towpath Gin. They got such a dope label. It's the same label throughout all of them, just different colors.
It's green.
For gin, it's green, yes.
Verde.
That's some nice Spanish you spoke there.
Green.
I'm going to attempt to teach our child Spanish while I'm teaching him her English.
Just drop him off over here.
You know Spanish?
I know Spanglish. And
you know Verde.
He'll come out a finished product.
Nice. He or she. We don't know. Anyways, let's get into
let's pick right now. Let's put it on because your babies could come like next week. Let's put it on the record. What do you have him?
I think we're gonna have a girl.
I think it's gonna be a boy. He's gonna be a shit stain just like you.
I was a shit stained kid, so we're gonna have our hands full if that's the case. All right, For the Land.
This show's just not getting any better, is it?
No! Let's go ahead and add to the misery.
Add to the misery.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are currently in the midst of a 4-game skid. We started out 0-1. We went on an 8-game tear, and we're 8-1, and now we are back to 8-5, and just playing absolutely. We're actually not playing poorly. They just can't close out games lately, which I think comes with there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of new players on the team, so it's just.
I mean, if you look at these games, they're not getting blown out. I mean,
no, and they've played a lot of good teams this year already. So,
close games against all of these.
Darius Garland had 51 against Minnesota.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And they're still like putting up big offensive performances. So,
yeah.
Look, it's the NBA. You play 80 games. Like
I'm still very confident in their ability to not only make the playoffs but make the finals. So with the buildup of their roster, I mean they are legitimately one of the best teams in the NBA.
And they've been on the road, right? I mean, this was a West Coast swing for them. So that's always tough for East Coast teams anyway.
Yeah. So let's with that, let's go ahead and put everyone out of their misery and wrap this show up.
Are we gonna finish it?
Yeah.
Finish him.
What can we expect next week?
What can we expect next week? We're going to expect a celebration when the Browns beat
I hope so.
the Buffalo Bills. I might jump through a table.
Oh boy, I just thought of a segment. And by that I mean you just gave me a segment.
I might even light it on fire first.
Oh my gosh.
You don't even have any idea.
We're going to go so viral.
And then we're going to preview the Browns-Bucks game because we're going to have our friend Tom Brady coming to town. Tom Brady taking another L on the week because Giselle went on vacation a week after their divorce with her jiu-jitsu instructor. So
that's maybe, usually who I'm going on vacation with.
Maybe we can
Something's been brewing.
Tom Brady another L next week. And hopefully there won't be a return of the paper bags.
Yeah. I think there might be. But anyways, for Tap In Media, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at The Tap In Media. You can find us on Instagram at Tap In Media Official. And for Burning River Sportscast, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast, and on Twitter at Burning River Pod. Twitter doesn't allow a long enough handle for us to be Burning River Sportscast, so we had to go with Burning River Pod.
Email Elon about that.
Elon, help me out here. Give me a blue check mark. I'll give you $8. Give me a blue check mark and to make make longer handles.
Here's real quick. I'm okay with the whole $8 for a blue check mark because if you're Kim Kardashian, you probably have $8 for a blue check mark.
Fair.
Here's what I don't like about this $8 for a blue check mark. I had assumed that this $8 for a blue check mark would be going to pay for the operational responsibility of verifying and validating these accounts. It just seems like all you have to do is pay the $8 and they're like validated.
Yeah, well, and it's crazy. It just creates more work for everybody on Twitter because now you have to click on the blue check mark and see if it's like a notable person or if they just paid $8 for a blue check mark.
Literally in the last week, like some guy made a mock LeBron James.
Someone made a mock Elon Musk profile.
They're just, and LeBron James was like, "I'm requesting a trade," and people went nuts for like an hour until they realized that it was
just crazy talk. Elon,
validated.
Get your shit together, man. And then you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, and more.
Before we end this show.
Okay.
I wanted to share something with you.
This sounds like it's going to be devastating.
People are very afraid of sharks.
True. But there's nothing better than seeing sharks in the ocean.
There is nothing better than seeing sharks in the ocean. That's true. People are very afraid of sharks. They're afraid to go in the ocean. A lot of people will go, knee high, and just to where they can't see the bottom anymore, and then they're done. People are afraid to surf.
Yep, might lose a leg.
There's approximately 50 unprovoked shark bites every year across the globe.
Okay.
50 shark bites. Each year, the city of New York records approximately 1,600 bites, human bites.
I'm more likely to be bitten by a human than bitten by a shark.
Exponentially at higher risk.
That's just the city of New York.
At being bit by a New Yorker than you ever are being bit by a shark.
Oh, man. New York, that's such a wild place, man.
Quick programming note. Casey Anthony breaks her silence for the first time in 11 years in a 3-part limited series called Where the Truth Lies on Peacock. Sure to be must-see TV.
That seems like a terrible title for anything with Casey Anthony, but sure.
Coming up right around the Thanksgiving holiday, so keep your calendars open. Got to see that.
Quick plug for that for whatever reason. Not only is Casey Anthony not a good person to do a quick plug for, although I'm sure you probably would like to meet her.
Look, I think she's a bad person, and she probably did kill her daughter, which is awful. I did always think she was good looking.
That's a topic for our other podcast that we'll be starting eventually. I'll do a quick plug there for
when we get gassed up.
When Gassed Up gets started, just that whole thing because we lived in Florida when that was going on.
It
was right down the road from us.
We were right there in Orlando when it all happened.
Yep.
And that was a problem.
Yeah, it was.
But don't just be a part of the problem; be the whole problem.
And only you can prevent river fires.
Burning river.
The river is burning.
Burning river.
It's on fire.
Burning river. 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 Burning river.
Stop.
Burning river. Burning river.